my co-anchor.
I'm Robbie Linton. Thank you for joining us. We have so much to tell you tonight about all the recent games that we've had. It has been a really exciting tournament.
It's true. Each of the competitions was just amazing, and I have to tell you, there were some upsets that I was not expecting.
Absolutely. There were some games that we were completely thrown off by. It was just amazing to see. And then others, we kind of had a feeling who was going to pull it off in the end.
Yeah, my bracket's a complete mangle. Why don't we go through each one of these games and try to kind of feel out which one is strong enough to take it on?
Absolutely. Let's start with Strong Mother, Strong Sons versus the life-changing magic of tidying up. Now this game seemed fairly close, but in the end, the life-changing magic of tidying up pulled it off.
It's true. At halftime, Strong Mother, Strong Sons was ahead, and I really thought that they were strong enough to pull it out.
Absolutely. But in the end, the life-changing magic of tidying up just wanted it more.
It's true.
So as we move on, we have the Screwtape letters versus the Secret. Now, this one, not as much as the first game, was as close. The Screwtape letters did pull it off by a margin of 23 votes.
It's so sad for the Secret. I mean, so many people have succeeded through that book, and yet the Screwtape letters just pulled it out.
Absolutely. So, exciting game, yet in the end, the Screwtape letters, they were able to conquer.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next game, we have Vampire Knight versus A Heart Revealed.
This one was a hard one to watch. I mean, Vampire Knight is such a strong graphic novel competitor, and it just didn't make it.
Absolutely. They didn't seem to have the same strong heart as A Heart Revealed. So, as we move along, we have Seraph versus Peach Girl. Now this one, it was very lopsided. Sarah, she pulled it off 49-18. And I say she because it's Sarah.
It's true. Peach Girl really ended up in the pit on this one.
Absolutely. The Hiding Place versus You'll Get Through This. Unfortunately, they didn't get through this. The Hiding Place, they were able to dominate 47-20.
Yes, very strong competitors there.
So as we move along, we have the Emerald Mile versus In Defense of Food. Now, this was the closest matchup that we had throughout the entire first round.
A real nail-biter. I have to say, it was back and forth for so long.
Absolutely. The Emerald Mile was able to pull it off 34-32, 2 votes.
Right at the end. I don't know how they pulled it out.
It was exciting. The Green Arrow versus Murder on the Orient Express. Once again, a very lopsided game.
This one was sad to watch.
Yeah, there was, some good fight that was being put forth by the Green Arrow, but Murder on the Orient Express, they just wanted it more badly, so.
Yeah.
48-18. Moving along, we have Seraph of the End, Vampire Reign, versus Elantris. Now, this was one of those games that it just seems like Seraph of the End, Vampire Reign, they just didn't know what they were doing right from the start.
Absolutely. I did not envy Vampire Reign going into this. I mean, Elantris has such a strong history of being well-liked, and not that many people even know about Vampire Reign.
Absolutely. So, in the end, Elantris was able to pull it off 55-9.
Such a hard matchup. The next one we're going to talk about is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe versus Pokemon Adventures Diamond and Pearl. And let me tell you, The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe came out growling on this one. They were ready for a fight.
Absolutely. And it just showed, throughout the entire matchup, everything was going perfectly on their side.
It's true. I'm almost surprised by how many points Pokemon Adventures got, but they were fighting hard. You can tell that they've hit the gym. And the final score was 14-60, which this was one of the highest scoring games of the entire round.
Absolutely. So, a good one to pay attention to, even with the score being a bit lopsided.
Absolutely. The next matchup we're going to talk about is Treasure Island and Disney Frozen Hairstyles. And let me tell you, I'm really sad about this one. As an Elsa fan, I thought Disney Frozen Hairstyles was going to go a lot further than it ended up going.
It's so true. And Sorry to all you Frozen fans out there, but in the end, the hairstyles just weren't that pretty.
It's true. Treasure Island ended up just completely decimating Elsa and Anna and their beautiful hair, 48 to 22. It was very sad for those of us who are fans. The next matchup we have is One Piece versus the Heir, and this is one of those that's a graphic novel versus a very contemporary novel, and it was hard to watch. I mean, the Heir just came out swinging, and if you've read it, you know that main character does not take no for an answer, and One Piece just couldn't stand up to it.
Absolutely. They just didn't have the right pieces to make things happen.
It's true. With a final score of 50 to 18, the Heir is taking on the whole. I think they're going to go fairly far.
I think they're going to run pretty deep into this tournament.
Yeah. The next game is one of the most difficult games that I think we watched. Usagi Yojimbo versus Michael Bay Storm of Lightning. Usagi Yojimbo only got 4 points the entire game. It was almost a complete shutout, which doesn't happen very often for March Madness Book Edition.
Michael Bay, Storm of Lightning, really, you know, everybody I think would have predicted this one. No offense to Usagi, but in the end it was a Storm of Lightning that conquered.
It's true, and Michael Bay is one of our returning titles. So I think really having the experience from last year and the fan backing from last year, I mean, it was pretty easy to predict this one. The next matchup we're going to talk about is the Bravest Princess versus Sonic the Hedgehog Archives. Now again, this is one where it was a classic graphic novel against a newer book, and I think it was just, the Bravest Princess just took it. I mean, I don't know if it was her feminine willpower or what, but Sonic the Hedgehog just couldn't keep up.
Absolutely. You would have predicted that this would have been a little bit closer, but Sonic just did not have his usual speed to get through this.
At a final score of 16 to 51, the Bravest Princess is moving forward to the next round. The next matchup we have is A World Without Heroes versus the Iron Trial, and this one is really difficult because Iron Trial takes two really strong authors, Holly Black and Cassandra Clare, and pits them against one of our returning authors, Brandon Mull. And it was a hard game to watch, but in the end, A World Without Heroes took on the world.
It was a real trial for the Iron Trial to try and make it through this game, you know, and trial by fire, you know, just didn't have what it takes to try and beat out A World Without Heroes.
With a final score of 53 to 13, World Without Heroes is moving on to the next round. The next matchup we have is Sword of Summer. That's the new one from Rick Riordan's Norse God trilogy, or series. If only it were a trilogy. I would only have to wait 3 years for it to be done. And Naruto, which is a very classic, very well-loved graphic novel. I was actually surprised by this one. I thought that Naruto would take it. It has the fan backing, it has movies already, and yet it only made 21 points this whole round. And Sword of Summer, 44. That's almost twice as much. It was just hard to watch.
Absolutely. You know, some of these games, as we mentioned, we thought would be a little bit closer, but you have voted and you have shown us what you think.
It's true, and we love that you are participating to figure out our championship title. Now the last matchup we have tonight, Fairy Tail versus Allegiant. And again, this is a graphic novel with a lot of history versus a very typical, very relevant current novel. And I just don't think that Fairy Tail was ready for it. Allegiant came in and just decimated the place.
Absolutely. And I know some of you were hoping that this competition was going to have a fairy tale ending, but it just didn't happen.
Now, with a final score of 51 to 21, Allegiant is moving on.
And there you have it. So, tune in next week as we will reveal the scores coming up in the next portion of our tournament.
And also get the first look at who the Elite Eight will be and how they got there. I'm Natalie Gregory.
And I'm Robbie Linton. Thank you for joining us this evening, and we look forward to seeing you again on LNN, your Library News Network.